Hi, this is Regeline Sabat, also known as Gigi. You're listening to Walk With Me podcast. My guest today is Jacqui Pugh. Jacqui Pugh is a master practitioner of neuro linguistic programming and a certified life and emotional intelligence coach. Welcome to the show, Jacqui.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. It's an honor to have you here today. Now, why don't you start off by telling us about you and where you are from?
So I'm Jacqui Pugh. Right now, I'm based out of Chicago. Sometimes I'm based out of Denver. Sometimes I'm just like off having fun somewhere. But right now, I'm based out of Chicago. And I have a studio here called Unzipped Studios. And I do live sound healings and full moon ceremonies. I'm actually doing a free one tomorrow. If anybody wants to join, you're welcome to join too, Gigi. Breath work and meditations. And I'm a certified full life transformation coach and neuro-linguistic programmer. And I created a program called Burn, which is 3.5 months long. And we dive super, 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 super deep. We have fun, but we dive super deep. And sometimes it is also the least amount of fun that you'll ever have in your life.
I love it. Now,
But
tell us
you're
more about
welcome.
yes. Tell us more about it.
Yeah, so we heal, deal, we move on from the past. We look at what your limiting beliefs are. I have so many NLP tools that I whip out that when those limiting beliefs pop up, you have something to actually stop them, to create a new thought and feel actually good about it versus like, I'm saying a positive affirmation, but I don't really believe it. Um, we look at your personality types, your value system, which you base every single decision on in your life without ever knowing it. It's all subconscious until we dig deep. We look at there's so much. I don't want to like just give you like a rundown of things, but we look at all the different pieces of your life and yourself, why you operate the way that you do, what we're going to do about it, and how you want to change it. I hold you accountable. Then we rebuild your standards for what you are allowing and no longer allowing in your life. And then we build your vision and I set you free. And then you don't need me anymore, just like occasionally here and there, because that's the goal, right? Therapy, I love therapy, but sometimes you can be in therapy forever and not have much change, where coaching is like, all right, what are we going to do about it? I love you and let's go.
Very powerful.
Yeah. So
What inspired you to become an entrepreneur?
I've been an entrepreneur literally since I can remember. And as I got older, I got a little bit more feisty about it because I'm like one of the sweetest people that you will ever meet. And I used to be the biggest people pleaser. And then in my 20s, I lived in LA and I had some bosses that I don't know what kind of language is okay to use here, but they're pretty douchey. That I found myself very much talking back to them and standing up for myself and not caring if I lost my job or not. And I'm like, Jacqueline, like where did this come from? But it turns out that I don't like authority. I more like collaborations, like we're doing right now. I like working with people. I like building things together. I'm extremely creative. My family used to tell me, Jacqueline, just pick one thing. Just pick one thing. And I'm like, I can't. And I would feel like there's something wrong with me. But when you actually look at my personality type, it literally says in the breakdown, you have to have your hands in a bunch of different pots all the time. And eventually, all those little pots will turn into one big pot, which it has for me. But my past has consisted of doing professional musical theater all over the country, voiceovers. I'm the voice of one of the strawberry shortcakes, to commercials, to indie films, to full-time real estate, to full-time personal training. And now here we are. I've taken all those pieces and I've studied super hard and I'm a full life transformation coach. And that's my one thing. And so now I have all those different pots to pull from to relate to people. So it's been beautiful.
Very inspiring. Tell us more about your upcoming book. Sometimes it takes a breakup.
Yes. Sometimes it does. I don't know if you can relate, Gigi, but sometimes it does. And sometimes it doesn't just take one. Sometimes it takes like a million breakups. The world is going through a breakup right now, right? But we need that in order to grow. And for me personally, I've always been the inspirer and the motivator. And kind of going back to your previous question, had I known that a life coach was a job, I probably would have gone to school for that. But I didn't. And I was dating a guy who was definitely not my person, did not treat me well. And he was about to leave town. And I met this surf instructor because he wanted to get surf lessons. And I just wanted to be around the surf instructor all the time. I was like, his energy, who is this guy? Little did I know that he was getting ready to become a life coach. And so I started following him on Instagram or on Facebook, and we became friends, and he was leaving these little videos, and it was always something that I needed. And I'm like, who in the world is going to believe a broke actress? Not realizing here I am trusting a surf instructor that we found on Groupon. Like, he's totally broke. And I'm like, yes, I believe in you. But I had my own limiting beliefs. And it wasn't until after I went through 3 extreme heartaches, back to back to back breakups, that it really forced me to look at myself and be like, what is the common denominator and all of the unfulfillment in my life? What is the common denominator in my relationships, in my finances, and what I'm doing with my life? At the time, I was a full-time real estate agent. And I'm like, there's got to be something to blame it on. And then I was like, me. I'm the common denominator. Oh no. But a couple minutes later, it set in, and I was like, oh my gosh, if I'm the common denominator, that means I can do something about it. And that day, my life coach that I had met 5 years prior on a surfboard launched a program. It was $5,000. I was so depressed. I hadn't worked in 2 months. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to pay for this. I just opened a new credit card, and I did it. And I completely changed my life, all because of those breakups. And if I didn't have those breakups, I'd probably be working a 9 to 5 doing something that I hated. But instead, I'm living my life's purpose. So sometimes it takes a breakup, you guys. Sometimes you feel like you're being buried, but really you're just planted.
Amen. And God utilizes our pain for purpose. Very powerful. Now, you mentioned depression. Talk to us a little bit more about your depression and how you overcame depression.
Yeah, actually, something that I found that helps with depression, I would get really, really hard on myself if a depression episode was coming up. And it's, first of all, it's very important to tell ourselves, I am feeling depressed. Not I am depressed, because whatever follows I am is your truth. I am feeling depressed. So it's just a feeling. It's not you. And I would get really hard on myself and feel like I should be doing X, Y, and Z. I shouldn't be feeling this way right now. Don't feel depressed. Like, you're the happy person, Jack. Like, you can't be feeling this way. And the more and more that I resisted myself feeling that, the longer it would go on. So for me, I mean, as I mentioned, it went on for over 2 months, and usually something in our life has to change. And one, we know now it was me, but it was also a lot of things, like my friend circle, my job. I literally, the idea of getting out of bed, and there's nothing wrong with this because some people are meant to do this and they love it. But the idea of getting out of bed to go find someone to buy or sell a house to, just, I could feel the light in my soul slowly dying. Like, I literally felt like I was dying inside. I knew I was supposed to be doing something bigger and different with my personal life. And what I have found is when you let yourself have that moment of feeling depressed, when you just say, okay, if this is how you need to feel right now, go ahead, feel it. It passes so much quicker. Because emotions are just energy in motion, and they're meant to come through, experience them, and then they leave. But in our society, they come through and we're like, that one's not cute. I'm just gonna like shove that one down. Or it's not cool to feel those ones. I'm just gonna shove down, and I'm gonna carry it with me everywhere I go. And like energy attracts like energy. And I keep attracting all these other things in my life that actually make the depression or the sadness or the anger or the pain feel even larger, until you finally get to a point where it has nowhere to go but out. And so if you just release it, you then create space to feel something new. So That's my thoughts on depression. And some people are clinically depressed, and that's okay. But some of us aren't. And there is a way to move through that.
I love what you said there about not owning it. I love it. Very. Tell us more about the major challenge you had to overcome in your life.
What was that?
Tell us more about the major challenge that you had to overcome in your life.
It was me. Honestly, it was me. And I can almost guarantee every single person listening, it's you. Not in a I'm trying to blame you or make you feel bad kind of way, but you are the common denominator in everything. And, I talk a lot about in my burn program, one of the weeks is on responsibility. And some of us want to be like, oh, how do you want me to take responsibility for like my jerk boss or a job that I hate or fill in the blank, whatever it is. But in reality, when we are sitting there being like, well, my life is this way because of you, or I feel this way because of you, or I can't get anything done because of this job or because of my boss, fill in the blank. Guess what we just gave away? Our power. We just gave away all of our power. So now we're sitting there waiting for these things outside of us to change. And if our boss never changes, if our partner never changes, if the fill in the blank never changes, we are always going to be stuck and feeling unfulfilled. But when we can say, hey, wait a minute, I'm going to take my power back here. I don't like how this feels. I don't like what my life looks like right now. I'm not going to wait for you. What can I do about it to change? What action step can I do to change? And it's not to be mean to somebody else, or I'm not saying leave your partner or immediately quit your job, but maybe there's a different way where you can start to get that ball rolling so things can change in your life and you're not just waiting for it. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Now, what is your why that keeps you going?
My why that keeps me going is I know what it feels like to feel half dead inside. And I know what it feels like to have limiting beliefs rule and run your life and feel like you don't deserve to be here, that other people's voices should be heard and not yours, that you're not good enough, fill in the blank. And I truly, truly believe in the deepest part of my soul and my heart that every single person on this planet is entitled to a healthy brain. Every single person. And so my mission in life is to get the tools that I have into as many hands as possible. And to one day, when I'm big enough, get to give programs and things out for free, or at very bare minimum, have nonprofits where I can help people in third world countries, even all around the world, have tangible things where they can start to change their mental and emotional state, because we all were born worthy of that.
Amen. Very uplifting. Now, tell us more about an aha moment that you experienced in your life.
The first one that pops up is drum roll.
Drum roll.
On my way to a date. This was during the self-development program that I joined with my coach that I just told you about. And I was on my way to the date and I wanted to cry. I was like, Jack, you haven't even gotten there yet. Like, why do you want to cry? So stupid. But I was really holding in tears. And then I got to the date and he ended up talking about himself the whole time and about sports and all this other stuff and whatever. It was fine. I got in my car and I just started uncontrollably sobbing. And now when I say that I was dedicated to that work, because I did not have the money, right? Like I found a way out of no way. That was my life's purpose for those 6 months. 24/7, that's all I did was focus on this program. So I did have a couple personal training clients at the time, and I had one that night. And I just couldn't stop crying. And I was like, Jacqueline, you are allowed to cry for the rest of the night, as long as you figure out why. Why are you crying? And what I realized was this guy had found me on Facebook. And at the time in the program, it was a completely sober program. You were not allowed to drink. And not that I even drank that much, but you just were not allowed to drink. And what I realized was I saw on this guy's profile on Facebook, like him out having drinks and all these girls in their tiny little like Halloween costumes and at these sporting events and all these things that I wasn't into or doing. And subconsciously I was thinking, oh my God, how am I going to fit into this person's life? How am I going to fit in? And then I thought about it. I'm like, wait a minute. I've been loving my life the last 3 months because I had taken a break from dating. Like, I've been loving my life. I've been feeling amazing. Like, I love everything that my life is about. Whoa, it is not about how does this person, it's not about how do I fit into someone's life. It's how do they naturally fit into my already amazing life. And I realized that I was doing that everywhere, literally everywhere, with my friends, anybody that I dated, with jobs. It was always, oh, how am I going to fit in? Am I going to be liked? How can I people please? How can I? But really, at the core, I was awesome. It was, does this actually serve me? Does this feel good to be in my life or no? If not, I can walk away and I'm going to be okay.
Very powerful message there. Do not people please. Thank you for sharing that with us. Now, what is your best advice to the audience for walking with purpose and living a life of happiness?
My best advice for walking with purpose and living with happiness. Well, I'm going to start with one of my mantras is, if you don't ask, you'll never know. You'll never know. Whenever I get nervous about walking in my purpose or about doing something or talking to the cute guy or whatever it is, I imagine myself lying in bed on my deathbed at like 100 years old. And I ask myself, how would I feel if I never tried? And it's usually I would regret it and be wondering why. And that feels really, really yucky. And that allows me to go step into that thing that I feel called to do, whether it's my purpose or a connection or whatever that is. It pushes me out of my comfort zone to go try it. And I'll do the thing, because then I'll have my answer and I don't have to wonder.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure to write that down. If you do not ask, you will never know. Jacqui Pugh just stated that here today, and it is very powerful. As the Bible states, ask and it shall be given to you. So Jacqui, thank you. And thank you for being a guest on Walk With Me podcast. I truly appreciate you. Where can the audience find you?
Yeah, oh my gosh, you can find me pretty much anywhere. You can find me on Clubhouse at Jacqui Pugh, JACQUIPUGH. You can find me on Instagram, which is Jacqui_Pugh. You can find me on Facebook, which is facebook.com/Let's Get Unzipped. You can find me on my website, which is www.JacquiPughUnzipped.com. Yes. And I look forward to hearing from anybody that has anything going on in their lives. Gigi is amazing. Thank you for hosting this and helping so many people.
You're welcome. I love it. And ladies and gentlemen, as you heard today, Jacqui Pugh is filled with so much humor. I love it. Definitely go and check her out. She can assist you as well in regards to her life coaching at JacquiPughUnzipped.com. And Jacqui, again, thank you so much for being a guest on Walk With Me podcast.
Oh, thank you so much. Sending you so much love and light.
Likewise.